Hello there, this is Jeff Erdman, E.D.S. Inc. Shandon, and we've got another little video prepared for you. We have some shop changes that we've made, and we're building another loft above the wood shop area. So we got some of that work going on. We'll show you some of that. And all we've got is the uprights in right now. We've got some I-beam out back that we're cutting up and getting ready to install. And then we've got a project that I'm setting up to do that's going to, what we're going to be doing is making a special jig for a pin router. And we've bought a couple of cranes so that we can lift our doors up and set them down onto the table of the pin router. And we're going to have this jig that we set up so that we can adjust to whatever size vision kit or louver is in the door, so we can do our cutouts on the pin router. And so I have to make a jig that's fully adjustable. That way we don't have to make a jig for each light as we change light size. It'll be an easy thing of just changing the position of some arms within the jig, and we're off and running. So hopefully we can get that down to just minutes of setup rather than making a jig that might take us 35-40 minutes to build and then doing the cutout on top of that. And what I'm thinking is that maybe the pin router will be able to do our cutouts in maybe 15 minutes opposed to right now it takes our guys about 35 minutes to do a cutout. So hopefully we'll get our production time down a little bit and, with this jig and with the pin router, and that's what we're shooting for. So anyway, so that's another little project I have, and I'll show you how I'm developing that, how I've set up the bridge port for that. And we'll show you the loft above the machine shop. We'll show it to you from down below because I'm not going to climb up there. We have no access to it other than by ladder. But we've got, I've moved all my aluminum up there. The grinders are all up there that we're going to move up there. And so it's kind of a mess because I don't have anything organized. I've just set it up there for now. But it's kind of interesting, the structure that we built to support that. It didn't deflect, not even in the least bit. You couldn't even tell that we were putting the weight up there. And I probably put about 20,000 pounds up on that loft. And you can't even tell that nothing's deflected, nothing's moved. When you're walking on it, it's just as steady as can be. No bounce or anything like that. So you hear it if you drop something, but I think that's more the plywood resonating like a guitar would or something like that. If you strummed a guitar, you're going to hear it's going to make the sound a little bit louder. But as far as movement in the flooring, there's nothing. So we did a pretty good job by guessing by golly to make that a pretty sound structure. And so we've got that. And plus you might notice just in this video, the setting that I have, that things have changed. We've moved things around in the shop. This is my surface plate, and this is where it's been since almost since I bought it. And but we put a cabinet next to us. This cabinet is going to have tooling in it and that sort of thing. This cabinet right above it has a selection of all sorts of things. It has tapered pins. It's got Allen screws. It's got spring pins and that sort of thing in it. Those sorts of items. And another one right behind it has brass bushings and snap rings and that sort of thing. So we're trying to get things to where I have them easily accessible instead of having to run someplace else to get them. And we moved, we've changed things back behind the old Ajax mill, made a little bit more room back there to access things, and by just rearranging things. This cabinet actually used to be back behind the Ajax. Now it's over here. So we had a lot more room and depth back there, so we put our toolboxes back there and a few things like that. So, so we'll show you some of that, and we'll show you what we're up to with this jig that we're making, and we'll show you how we're going to go about doing that, and maybe I'll take you over to the other shop too, and we got our lights in over there. We're setting up a crane over there too, and so we'll just do a little bit of walk through the shop to start with, and then we'll get on to some milling. So you can see right here behind the Bridgeport, we've put a big cabinet. Inside that cabinet, I've got, let me get that light out of the way. You can pull this forward. Inside the cabinet, I've got all sorts of my tooling and what have you. Some of this tooling I'm going to put into the cabinet over to the right of the surface plate, so that I don't have so many things stacked back in there that you can't access. So I'll probably put some of that over into the other cabinet. But this is kind of a general cabinet. Down here has, this actually came with the cabinet. There's, I can't get this door open anymore for some reason. Oh, I got a deal back here. I got cans and stuff down here. But this little rack here, when I got this cabinet at auction, it came with those stones, all that sandpaper. It came with all these, oh, for crying out loud. So down on this shelf we got this sandpaper when we got the cabinet, and over here are Scotch-Brite. I got a whole stack here. I got the purple, the kind of a brown, and the white Scotch-Brite. All came with the cabinet, and along with quite a few other items as well that we were able to put to use. But the cabinet itself is what I was bidding on, as I needed a cabinet to keep my stuff in close to the milling machine. And you can see that cabinet, we haven't cleaned it yet, the outside face. This is all bug splatter as it rode on the back of the truck on in. So so that's that cabinet. So here's a shot of the stuff that I have up in the upper loft. And I got all my aluminum up there. I also got my steel back in the back corner. This back in that corner there. And my over in that back corner is the tool grinder, Cincinnati tool grinder. And then in the front we have a 16-inch sanding disc. That's a big old, I've got 3 big grinders, one with 3-inch wheel and the others with all 2-inch wheels up there. So I'll be able to put a different wheel on each one of them, and we'll have everything we need. So this is the area that we're putting our loft. It'll be up above the bandsaw here. That's the pin router in the back there, and you can see the post over to the left of that pin router. That's the other post, and that's the corner post back there. You can barely see it there. That will be supporting the I-beams, and so we'll have about a 12-foot by, I think it's about 20 feet across space, and that's where the old Oliver lathe that you see back there, that Oliver lathe will be going up there, along with the scroll saw, and I want to show you tool down in the back of the pin router. You can see I've got a table in there with a bunch of junk in front of the pin router, so don't mind that. You can see what we're putting in back there. We've got a crane, and that's has a suction cup that'll lift the doors and be able to put them right onto the table there. So that crane is going to be valuable to avoid back injury and what have you. You see the big old base for that thing there, so it won't tip over, and it can hold a little bit over 100 pounds, which most of our doors are right at that. So this is another addition. I had all those drill bits that I bought from a auction, and reamers. So I've got those all set up here on the wall now. I'm going to put one more shelf above. I've got another batch of them to go up. These racks here are totally full already, although they don't look it. That's because I've got a lot of those drill bits in evaporust, and the balance of them will be heading in there as soon as this first batch gets out. So we're looking forward to cleaning those up and getting them ready for service. So I got this parts washer, and what I've done is I've just filled this with evaporust, and I've got all my drill bits tucked away in there. All the rust is being currently eaten off of them. That's a big old clamp that's going to go under one of the wood working tables there. So we're going to get those all cleaned up, all that rust off of them. And this container was perfect for the evaporust. What we're looking at now is in our other shop. And this is our door machine here that we pre-hang doors on. And we're currently rebuilding this. We're putting some new motors on it, new switches, what have you. Getting it all polished up and in working order. This is going to be the PreHang Shop. It's not a very big space. We have one cantilever rack in here. Not really set up where I want it. We're going to set them in the back, eventually move that rack there all the way against that wall. And then we'll have two cantilever racks in the back there. But right now we've got another one coming, and it's going to go right against this wall. We just picked that up in auction this week. So this is what we're doing right now. This is the main support for our crane, and so we're getting that set up to be mounted on the floor here. And once we get that on, then we can put the boom on, and then once we get the boom on, we can set this monstrosity, which is the suction cup that will pick up about 150 pounds. This vacuum operated. So we're getting ready to get that going. And this is another tool that we picked up at auction, relatively inexpensively. We've got a 8-inch wide belt sander. So we're getting that all set up as well. And pretty soon we'll have that over in the other wood shop. This picture kind of depicts what we're trying to do. We're milling into some 1-inch by 1-inch aluminum. Hopefully you can see that, that drawing. What we have is we're going to be boring into that. We're going to be putting a bearing in here, a 5/8 bearing. We're going to have a little housing, a stainless steel housing, and that the bearing will sit into, and then we'll have bearings on the top, a cap that comes down, and a set screw that holds the cap in place.